This is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we are going to have our discussion on the concept of the combustion of planets. A lot of you have been asking me this question, and not only that, I still remember I just received one consultation, and in that consultation the client has specifically mentioned this thing with underline that okay, while looking at this house you have to give consideration that the house lord is combust. So I just thought, why should not we have a discussion on this concept? And like the way when you have some personal touch to a concept, you put your heart and soul into it. So even in my chart, a lot of my planets are placed in auspicious houses, but they are combust as well. So that is something which we will try to understand in this video. So now friends, what the combust planet means. So in Vedic astrology friends, the concept is very simple. As you know that sun, which is the significator of the true innate light. So if any planet comes in contact or come close to the sun degree wise, sun just combusts the signification of that planet. So now every planet, like obviously in this discussion we do not include Rahu and Ketu. So barring Rahu and Ketu, all planets have certain degrees. So if you will find Venus to be 9 degrees or 10 degrees close to the sun, it is going to get combust. If in transit Jupiter is going to come close to the sun, Jupiter is going to get combust, and that too close to 11 degrees. So same way friends, for the Saturn it's 15 degrees, for the planet Mars it's going to be 17 degrees. So now friends, when we talk about the concept of the combustion, so it is equally applicable whether in your natal chart or whether in the transit as well. So for example, you have been anticipating or waiting a long time for Saturn to enter your auspicious houses like 7th house, 10th house and 11th house. Saturn even entered over there, but it has not started manifesting results the way you must have anticipated. Why? Because Saturn might be combust in the transit. So friends, for this concept of combustion, it's not only the planet has to be placed in the same house with the sun. It could be if the planet is fulfilling the eligibility of the distance from the sun in terms of degrees, it can still get combust. So if someone is going to have sun to be placed in the Capricorn but in the 27 degrees or 28 degrees, and if this native is going to have Mars or like Saturn or Jupiter or Venus to be placed in the early degrees of Aquarius sign, still those planets are going to get combust because of their vicinity or being closeness to the degrees from the sun. Now friends, how does the impact comes? So definitely friends, in this what is generally I have seen in my research is that sometimes the living signification represented by the planet might suffer, or the major impact comes if your ascendant lord is going to get combust. So in terms of weakness, vitality, lack of confidence, so this is how the planets could manifest the weakness or innate weakness if they are going to get combust because of their closeness to the planet sun. Many people say that Mercury is immune to the combustion because Mercury is all the time being close to sun. So that is very much true friends, but again even in that concept it all comes down to what is the true innate dignity of the planet sun. So even in this discussion you have to include the strength of the sun as well. So for example, if sun is going to combust Saturn, but this combination is taking place in the Aries sign, so that means sun is in its full maximum glory, and if Saturn is going to be placed close to the sun as in terms of the eligible degree distance, like if Saturn is 15 degrees from the planet sun and they both are placed in the, or sun is placed in the Aries, so then the sun's capacity or intensity to combust the signification or the qualities of the Saturn will go very strong or manifold high. Now comparatively, let's say for example, if we will find the same combination taking place in the Libra. So if sun is placed in the Libra, now whether Saturn is placed over here, whether Venus is placed over here, and if they are going to come close to the sun, depending on the eligibility of the combustion degree of the planet. But then also friends, sun is not in that strength or that dignity to completely burn out the signification of the planet which is going to get combust. So these are the few things which you also have to take into consideration while studying the combustion of the planets. Now friends, degrees I have mentioned, its importance I have mentioned. Now if you want to understand the way it is going to impact individually to all the planets, so let's say for example when we take up the case of the moon, so definitely the moon's placement in the same sign with the sun in the same house give rise to the combination of the new moon, which can be seen as a very good combination for the spiritual and a very reflective mindset. But when we talk about capacity to be very positive, optimistic, uplifted with your emotions, with your feelings, or whether in terms of the nourishment which you are going to receive from the living signification of the moon, which is the mother. And also friends, when we talk about in which house this combination is taking place, if this is going to be taking place in the 5th house or 10th house, 11th house, so the matters of the house, like 5th house is about creativity, it's about your intelligence, 10th house is about your profession, 11th house is about your dreams, your goals. So some sort of lack of enthusiasm and excitement or positivity regarding the matters of that house could also be experienced, because moon has been combusted by the planet sun. Now when we talk about, for example, from Mars's perspective, so definitely friends, when we talk about Mars, Mars is the planet of adventure, of enthusiasm, of brotherhood. If you will find Mars to be combust, so first of all we also have to take into consideration that in which dignity Mars and Sun are there. So for example, if you are going to find Mars to be placed in the Cancer sign, because in the Cancer sign, Cancer is still a placement of Sun's good friend Moon, and if Sun is going to be placed in the Cancer, or Sun is placed in the Scorpio or any of the water sign, so Sun is also not that dignified, but it is empowered basis its sign placement, and Mars is little bit sensitive and weak, specifically in the Cancer sign. Then in those kind of signification friends, when we talk about the confidence, when we talk about the drive and the true adventure streak, that streak of Mars which has to defend and kind of protect your convictions and your morals and stay firm when being challenged. So all these uplifting qualities of the Mars might take a toll, and which can also take place in the living significations matters as well, whether in the form of your relationship with your brothers, your younger siblings, or even in the house where Mars is going to be placed in. If it's going to be badly combust because of being its affinity or closeness to Sun, so native might also have some issues with the living signification of that house as well. So in the 10th house you might have ego related clashes and battles with your bosses. In the 9th house this could be with your father. In the 7th house this could be with your partner. Now friends, again you have to take into consideration, so for example for a Capricorn ascendant person, Mars being placed in the 7th house, it's Mandakarak Avastha for the planet Mars to be placed in over here, which I have explained in the last video. Mars is also debilitated, Mars is also combust. So this is how you are going to accumulate all the information, and you can land to this conclusion that native might have to face challenges in the matters of the 7th house, which could be on the exchange and dealing of the energies. Now friends, if you have to understand it from the perspective of the Mercury, so definitely friends, Mercury is somehow immune to the complete combustion of the planet Sun. This is something which I have seen in my case, that I have not seen someone lacking in the matters of the communication, in the commerce, in the trade. It all comes down to the dignity of the Mercury. So for example, if we will find Mercury to be placed in the water signs and getting combust because of the closeness to the Sun, then natives, the morals and ethics and the quality and kind of tendency of deception might go high. But I have not seen a lot of people facing the heat in the form of commerce, trade, or street smartness, or in terms of their communication. So that is my take on the combustion of the Mercury. Whatsoever your research and your findings are, please feel free to share that in the comment section. Moving ahead friends, now if you want to understand it from the Jupiter's perspective, so definitely friends, when we talk about Jupiter getting combust, so whenever we talk about the uplifting qualities of the Jupiter, like the way the only thing which can uplift us in the miseries, in the trouble, is how hopeful, optimistic we are. The touch of the divine, how truly it can uplift us or kind of rescue us from all of our miseries. So I have not seen kind of difficulties on the account of other living signification of the Jupiter. When we talk about the knowledge perspective, when we talk about whether progeny, whether we talk about the relationship, but yes friends, when we talk about the any sort of true authentic knowledge or wisdom, because friends, when we talk about philosophy, when we talk about wisdom, it's a very subjective thing which you cannot argue with everyone. If other person does not have that level of perception or perceiving power or cognitive power, it's not like a maths or accounting which you can sell it and just explain it on the papers. Native has to have that innate capacity to comprehend, absorb and understand that transcendental knowledge and wisdom. That is the only reason the wisdom of Jupiter is different from the knowledge of Mercury and other planets. So in those accounts, native might face the heat, he might have a troubled relationship with identifying and authenticating the true wisdom, right advisors and mentors. So that is how the Jupiter's combust can manifest results. I will look forward to your inputs on this. Moving ahead friends, now when we talk about from Venus's perspective, so definitely friends, Venus is the significator of the charm, of elegance, of relationship management. So we all know this thing, that whenever we talk about having that magnetism in your personality, that attraction in your personality, that is one thing which is being governed by the planet Venus. So now what is going to happen is that if Venus is going to get combust because of it with the planet Sun, it can actually create troubles in that sort of that charm, that allure, that glow in your personality to attract opportunities, to attract attention. And when we talk about even the relationship perspective, so Sun is definitely going to kind of burn out the true authentic unconditional loving qualities of the Venus. So rather than being truly platonic, spiritual, native might become very material driven in the matters of the relationship. And let's say for example, if you're going to find Venus to be placed in some difficult houses as well, like for example in the 6th house, or in the, like when we talk about the houses of affliction, specifically it's the 6th house. So then in those kind of scenarios and circumstances, native might find it difficult to form a lasting and loving relationship with the people in the world. And lastly friends, if you want to understand it from Saturn's perspective, so friends, that's very obvious. Saturn's outlook and approach towards life is, in any case, it's little bit pessimistic. See, we cannot deny this fact that the path of Saturn is definitely the path of the truth, of the righteousness, of the greatness. But in that path, there is a lot of disappointments, frustrations, setbacks. And if Saturn is going to be weak as per the zodiac sign placement, because Saturn and Sun represents two different ends of the scale, so they cannot be empowered at the same time. One has to gain power in order for another one to lose the power. So if you will find in this combustion Sun to be very strong, and Saturn is not only weak, and along with that Saturn is combust, then in those kind of circumstances it can actually give rise to lot of lack of enthusiasm, concerns and issues of pessimism, lack of motivation. Again, it is not going to create any difficulties, or it's not a line drawn in the stone that you cannot succeed in the life. For attaining and accomplishing success in the life, that is altogether a different case. But the negative side of Saturn is extreme melancholy, depression, pessimism, lack of hope. So those are the areas where native might have to struggle. So that is something friends which I just wanted to share in short about the concept of the combustion of the planets. The giveaway of this video is that while assessing the combustion of the planets, it all comes down to the degree of the planets. Like in this kind of combustion alignment, how much strength Sun is gaining, and whichever planet of yours is getting combust, like what is the natural dignity of that planet as per the sign and the house placement. If there is no hope, the last ultimate option is that what is the dignity and strength of this planet in the Navamsa chart. Otherwise, you have to do the remedies. Otherwise, in the dasha of the planet might be weak enough to manifest results. Like when we talk about the essence of the planets, where Moon is about unconditional emotions, Venus is about love, Mars is about courage. So all those true authentic essence of the qualities of the planets might suffer because they got burnt out because of their vicinity with the planet Sun. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs on this concept of the combustion of the planets. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.